from what you've seen and from your career, if there's somebody out there who wants to get into regulatory affairs, I think the biggest challenge in our world, I got to recently in the last 60 days help somebody who had some quality, had some testing, scientific, but had not been in regulatory affairs, had touched it cross-functionally, but get to move into an associate position. Great opportunity, but we don't typically get a lot of those. Most of the positions we work on, you have to have very specific experience and skill sets to even be in the conversation. What would your advice be to somebody that wants to explore regulatory affairs, or they think that's the career path? What would you suggest?
So if I look back at my own career path, I do feel like I followed a very typical path. I think once I was in medical device. So once I got into medical device, then I started in R&D. So a lot of times you get people starting in R&D, they know the technical, they know the devices themselves, right? So they know how they work, they, help work on them, the devices. And then from there, I moved into a quality position. And again, that's not too far removed because a lot of times they have to work kind of hand in hand. So then I moved into quality. And then once the company that I was at, they kind of conflated a lot of times quality and regulatory was all kind of like one entity. So in my quality position, I also performed some regulatory stuff unbeknownst to me.
Right.
It was regulatory type of things. And then as we grew as a company and they decided to split the two, I almost got to not necessarily choose, but I almost got to be like, oh, I really like this regulatory type of activities that I've been doing better. And so I would be more, best to go kind of over to this department. It wasn't a separate department, just separate function.
Right.
So I feel like that is a path that I've heard other people talk about when they talk about how they got into regulatory affairs is, R&D to quality, maybe to regulatory. So that could be a path for somebody. If you don't have that path available to you, I would recommend reaching out to regulatory people that are just in your company. I have found most regulatory people are very happy to have somebody help them do something, do part of a submission, or at least explain, what it is that's going on. Get a little bit of, knowledge under your belt so that you even know and can talk, the talk a little bit, right? So I would just volunteer your time with the regulatory department and say, hey guys, I really want to learn about this. Can I sit in on maybe an NPI meeting as a regulatory, person and try to understand what goes on there? Can I look at some of your regulatory strategy documents so that I can understand what that's? Can I look at some of your submissions so I can also understand that? And just really utilize the department. Like if you're already in a company, utilize that department to your advantage.
Yeah, I think that's so smart. I always tell people if there's another area that you want to explore, like the first thing you need to do is go introduce yourself to that head, whoever the subject matter experts over there. Take them to lunch. Take them to lunch, pick their brain, let them know that you're interested because, and especially if you're working cross-functionally with these different departments, and then they get to know you and they're going to start seeing, some of that potential and you're asking the right questions, trying to understand more. There might be an opportunity to do some cross training, or when they have an open head position, there might be an opportunity to move into that.